Brad Williams, XL Prime. Count total cells in a range. Here's a different way to count, and it's not using the count or the count A or any of the other count functions. We're going to use rows where we can count rows and we can count columns. Here we have a range from B4 to C10. Let's recognize that. B5 is the actual numeric range. And what we want to do is we want to count the number of rows. Then we want to count the number of columns, and then we want to count the number of cells. Here, rows, notice we're using the function rows. Array returns the number of rows in an array. We're just going to use an array function. Here we have columns. Array returns the number of columns in an array. All we're doing is, forget the data here. All we're doing is counting the rows now. So we're going to use the rows B5 to B6. Here's our range. And basically, it's just going to count B5 to C10. It's an array. We can hit F9. And it's just counting this information. What is it counting? It's counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's just counting these 6 rows. B5 to C10. Columns. We have B5 here to B10. It's just counting the columns. Cells. The cell function takes rows. It's going to take both of these expressions and go rows to columns. And it's going to count each one of these cells. Why is this important? Down the road, we're going to use this extensively to manipulate data. And this is a great introduction to counting rows and columns. And remember, there's a row function and a column function. Here we're showing rows and columns with an S. We can also enter the same formula like this, equals rows, hit this data here, we're going to get the same answer. Notice I just put B5, B10. We could go equals columns, and then just go across like this, and we get the same answer. The data is not important. We're just focusing on rows and columns. Now let me show you the cell. Here we have B5, and we know 6 times 2 is what? 12. Here's how it looks. F9. We have this data. It's not telling us anything other than it's just counting this data, and then it's going to take the columns. Really not that complicated. You can still just use that simple formula I just showed you, and without this data, let me show you. Here I just put in blank rows. I used row A and column B, rows A, columns B, and put in this exact same formula as we see in F7. It's just the same thing without any data. We still get the answer 12. Why? All we're doing is we're counting. We're counting the number of rows here times the number of columns. So we'll just go here, F9, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Columns, F9, 2. So we have 6 times 2, the way it works. The answer is 12. Brad Williams, XL Prime.